Deadpool and Wolverine is, of course, a movie that has come out recently to some very interesting reviews. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But, well, not later, let's talk about it now. IMDb has an 8.1, Rotten Tomatoes has 78, Metacritic has 56, and Google users has 95%. Google users. Also, Rotten Tomatoes audience score is 95. Now, do I agree with all of them? First of all, Metacritic, it needs to get fired. 56 is way too low. 95, to me personally, it's a little too high. But we'll talk about that later. But a little refresher, just a reminder. It has been around 2 months since my last upload. I have been slipping on the uploads to the few people who watch. But don't worry, I have missed quite a bit of movies. But don't worry, I'll be making a very long video talking about the movies I did miss. From ones that were very popular to ones that were probably hidden gems. And let's get right into Deadpool and Wolverine. By the way, this will be a spoiler movie review, obviously. And although you probably have watched other people's review, I am very grateful that you are watching mine. But anywho, Deadpool and Wolverine, of course, the main plot revolves around the TVA wanting Deadpool to move into the MCU. Why? Because the higher-ups claim that he is special. Now, of course, the ability to break the fourth wall is something special. Of course, they probably don't know because they just see Deadpool looking at a random corner and saying, "Hey, look at these guys. Got a load of this guy." And just like, what the hell is he staring at? Right? But whatever, right? But he wants to bring his friends, but they can't because his universe is dying and they will not relocate his friends and family. Why? Because this is where we're introduced. I think this is the one we're introduced to. The anchor beings, the beings of the universe that if they were to die, the universe dies with them. Now, of course, it is thousands of years after the fact. A little weird. But, of course, the anchor being of Deadpool's universe was Logan, or Wolverine, but from the Logan films, right? Which means he was in the X-Men universe, obviously, and Logan was in his universe. So, to save his universe, he went to go find other anchor beings, aka other Wolverines. And of course, this whole movie was a lot of fan service, a lot of old characters, and a lot of fan casts were made. Now, of course, we meet very interesting ones like Henry Cavill's Wolverine and Short Wolverine, but we do end up with the Wolverine that we see in the trailer. Obviously, his Wolverine, which is the one who, let's just say, did some not so good stuff in his universe, by the way. So the TVA's on their ass. We capture them, send them to the void where all, I guess, quote-unquote, unfit universes are put to before they are destroyed indefinitely. Where we get to see a lot of Fox characters. That's right. You get to see Chris Evans, Human Torch. You get to see the Juggernaut from the X-Men universe. You get to see Blade, obviously. Let's go Blade. I like Blade. Elektra. X-23, which is its own thing. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't paying too much attention to the movie, right? And of course, we were introduced to Charles Xavier's sister, who is a mass murderer because she was sent there as a child because she was deemed too dangerous. So obviously, raised with no parental figures or that of villains, very much does something to someone. But of course, they managed to escape and stop the TVA, or at least a certain division that has gone rogue that wants to destroy universes, basically almost instantly after their anchor being has been killed. But of course, they get stopped. Charles Xavier's bald sister gets killed. And for some reason, they've managed to stabilize Deadpool's universe where now it will not die in 1,000 years. It will die in, 10,000 years. You never know. But anywho, that is the essential plot of the movie. Obviously, I'm missing big chunks of it, obviously. But the reason why I would not put it at such a high ranking is because of a thing I used to talk about in other movies, where I personally really liked it, and I said a very specific thing. The only reason why you wouldn't like it, or in this case love a movie, if it's just not your cup of tea. This movie wasn't really my cup of tea. I'm not a real big fan of Deadpool's humor. It's not my kind of humor, but obviously some people were laughing in the theater because it was their type of humor, and it makes sense. You know, this was made for Deadpool fans and people who watched the other movies, which I tried. I couldn't. I kind of mainly only watch for Wolverine and Blade, but also others. It's just not my cup of tea in terms of humor. But the negatives are very few and far between. Like, don't get me wrong, I laughed at some of the parts. It is a somewhat funny movie. But it is a charming movie, if that makes any sense. It's a lot more charming to me than it is funny. So it's not bad. The action scenes, of course, amazing. The emotional scenes with the Wolverine, amazing too. Obviously, the fan cast, like the Deadpool core, is a very cool scene. Deadpool dog or Dogpool. It's always welcomed. You know, the music score is obviously very good. The fight scenes, like I said, very good. I like the villain. The villain is a very menacing character. Like literally, like you would, although you know that they're gonna survive because they're the main characters. Any of the side characters like Blade, well, not really truly side, yeah, side characters, right? Like Blade, Elektra, Gambit, X-23. I was like, oh, she actually might kill those people. I was like, they're not off the chopping block. Now, of course, by the way, it's major spoiler alert. Chris Evans' Human Torch dies, and that was one of the worst scenes I could ever bear to watch. It is so, and I get it. Deadpool's supposed to be such an annoying character, but damn, at least supposed to be a funny annoying character. I just straight up hated him. I was like, what the hell is going on? I hated this guy. He was annoying as hell. But people love Deadpool for a reason. That's why he got so many movies. He got 3 movies, and of course he will be moved into the MCU very shortly. So obviously, I'm kind of part of the minority in this one. But besides that, it is an enjoyable watch. Although I do not like the humor, it's obviously very kind of prevalent in the movie because it's Deadpool, but it's not overwhelming. So someone like me who does not like the humor can enjoy this film. Everything else, the action, the dialogue, the villains, obviously the fanfare, I guess I would say, hugely overweighs the negatives. Now, how would I rank this movie? I would rank it a 7 out of 10, maybe even a 7.5. It's a very enjoyable watch, but the humor, or at least Deadpool's humor, significantly kicks it down a notch for me. But to anyone else who is a fan of Deadpool, who most likely already watched the movie, let's be real, they already watched it. But to anyone who's still somewhat iffy or on the fence on this movie, if you like gratuitous humor, sexual, homoerotic humor as they would say, you would love Deadpool and Wolverine. You would even rank it like everyone else would, a 90 to 95. Although it's vastly different from my own, I could 100% see how they could put it that high. It's a great movie. That's all I gotta say. And although I will not be watching any more solo Deadpool movies, Deadpool will always be a great addition to the MCU. But with that being said, hope you enjoy this short video of Deadpool and Wolverine, and hopefully you get to stick around to watch the very long video where I rank at least 10 more movies I have missed, as I gotten lazy from going to the theater all the time. It takes a toll on the body, especially when people work the same. It's like this guy works the same shift. I'm really like, oh, this guy thinks I'm weird or something. But whatever, who cares? Hope you enjoy this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Another scoring shot. With welterweights, they sometimes bring you the best of both worlds. Fast hands and power.
The middleweights are the best.
So much for defensive abilities. Oh! No, Calzaghe just went down.